Well, here we are again. It's Monday morning, and the week is new. I've been thinking about some of the comments I've gotten on Facebook about political things I've written, and some of the thinking that I encountered when the Tea Party first started. And I had a blog on a Tea Party site, and I wrote hundreds of articles about conservatism and being a conservative and the Constitution. And I did that for a long time, and I felt like I was getting my ideas across, and I had a lot of readers. But slowly over time, Tea Party people changed. And I think it was the influence of the left that changed them. The Socialist Party is built totally on lies. The leaders of the party lie to everybody that's a follower. And the followers pick up the lies and they use them. And calling people names is a part of it. And I learned to accept that because I was a part of that movement as a real young man. Not really a willing partner, but I was a partner in that I attended meetings and I heard the language that was used and the ideas that were to be put forward in form of speeches and protests and all of that. And so I kind of never minded the left's vitriol towards me or towards what I said. But what I really minded was when the right began to use a lot of the same tactics. And it really hurt because I felt like the right was above all of that. And it wasn't needed by the right. All the right had to do was tell the truth, and their ideas would get across because people are wise enough to recognize the difference between lying and telling the truth. So I had a certain following. I felt like I was preaching to the choir where they were concerned. But so the left, I was perfectly all right with what they said. I didn't care. If they attacked me or attacked a messenger, I knew that was part of what they had been taught over the years. And so had been writing on Facebook and still do some. And I really don't mind too much when the left attacks me because I know that's what they do. That's how they're trained. That's the way they're taught to think. Kill the messenger kind of thing. But I'm going to tell you what. I don't know, in the last year or so, I've heard a lot of the same things out of the right. And I think it's copied from the left. The left has had its influence on the right. Because I find the right is lying too a lot of times, if you really listen. Or they are attacking the messenger. That's hard for me to deal with. I try to tell the truth when I'm talking politics, and I would hope that everybody on the right would. We know the left is not going to. That's just not in their nature. They're trying to sell something, a product that is a lie, and that's socialism. Socialism is built on lies. It is lies. There is no truth to socialism. Ayn Rand's book was fiction. But it was fiction with a tremendous lesson to be learned, and it was fiction with a lesson of truth. So I was really impressed by it. A little later on in the late 50s, I think it was, I was watching Louis Rukeyser on PBS in his program. And I'm going to tell you something, the man never said a word that wasn't true, I don't think. I believed that everything he said was absolute truth. Time went along and Democrats and Republicans came and went. And And then Ronald Reagan came in. And he was one of the smartest men in the country at the time, I think, where politics, where government, constitutional values were concerned. He was tops. I believed it, everything he said, just about. Time went along. We went through the years with a Democratic government, and then we went through a Republican government, and the Tea Party began to form. There was things going on in the government that the Tea Party people were worried about. There seemed to be an encroachment on the Constitution and on the rights of Americans. And I thought it was a serious thing. So I began to write about it, and a couple of people in the Tea Party read what I wrote and encouraged me to start a blog on the Tea Party, and I did. And I don't know, I guess I published probably 100 articles or more. A lot of people read them. And of course I had some believers and some detractors. But mostly I had believers, I think. You know, I never worried too much about what Democrats said about me, and liberals, what they said about me, because I knew that they had been indoctrinated by the Democratic Party, a part of which was a socialist party in disguise. And it's been going on for 100 years among the Democratic Party. The Democrats are just blind to it. They fail to see it. But it's there and has been. The 17th Amendment in the early 1900s was an abomination. You cannot take constitutional rights away. And the states were sovereign. That entitled them to have a Senate. And a Senate is a group of representatives from the state governments themselves, from the state legislatures. They elected the Senate. Well, the Democrats very lightly just did away with that constitutional right of the states. And they gave the Senate to the voters. Wasn't like we didn't already have a House of Representatives that represented the people. They decided we needed 2 houses of representatives to represent the people. Well, all of that was to have the ability to influence voters and pass socialistic laws. So my complaint with the Democrats is that in their basis is a desire for socialism, and that is the reason they claim we are a democracy. And of course, we are a republic with democratically elected representatives. We are not a democracy. A democracy is the last step before you go socialist. You give the people everything they want, and your government turns socialist, and the country turns socialist, and the people think like socialists. The Constitution of America becomes just a piece of paper. You can see that in the way they think about the Supreme Court judges. They want Supreme Court judges that think like they think. And that is not the job of the Supreme Court, to think like anybody thinks. The job of the Supreme Court is the Constitution, and see to it that laws meet constitutional law, and it doesn't matter what your political leanings are. That has nothing to do with why the Supreme Court is there. So okay, well, that's about enough. I'm gonna post the rest of this tomorrow or the next day. I hope tomorrow. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye bye.